Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to give you guys an update on a couple of my bonsai plants here. So the two bonsais I'll be talking about today are my Larch Bonsai and also my Ficus Benjamina Penjing style bonsai. So I'll start off with the larch because the larch is actually, there's not much that needs doing with that, and there's a little bit of pruning, a little bit of shaping needed on the Penjing, so I'll show that towards the end of the video. So as you can see, the larch is looking really good at the moment. It's just come out of dormancy. It's currently the very beginning of June. So it's put on some nice growth. You can see it's greened up all its branches quite well. There is one branch though, there's a couple of branches possibly that have got a bit of concern. Not sure why they've died back. So there's this one down here, you can just about see. So I'm just going to cut that back to where it's got some growth. Now there was a couple of plants that fell off the balcony, so I don't know if that caused some issues. But there does seem to be kind of some black kind of fungus growing out of this, so that's quite worrying. I'll have to look it up. See what kind of problem this could be. Hopefully it doesn't spread too much. So you can see a close up there, the bark kind of split away and there seems to be some kind of black kind of rusty material coming out. So that's a bit worrying. Hopefully there's not going to be much more of that. I'll also prune this one back, see how it is. That again has got very similar kind of material on that. And then there's this one around the corner as well which has died off. That's also got a similar kind of problem. I'm not sure what's caused this. I don't know if the rust is the initial problem or something else has caused the damage to the bark, and then the mold has got in at a second. The mold has got in later on. But you can see here it's like there's a lot of bark that's been peeled away. Now I don't know if that's caused from an insect or if it's been damaged from stuff falling off, but you can see a lot of the bark is just peeled off. The other ones seem to be like that, but they had black around them, like mold. So I'm not sure if the mold has got in once the bark has been peeled off, or it's the fungus that has caused the bark to do that. And there's another one here. So I'm not sure why that is. Let's say I'll look it up, try and find out for you guys, and see why that might be happening. But otherwise, it's a very healthy looking plant. I just can adjust the branches a little bit there. Some of them have been moved around, but most of them look quite good. So it's not put any very strong growth on yet. What it's done is it's just kind of leafed out, covered all its branches, and then it's just starting to put on some strong growth now. What I'm wanting to do is the base to thicken up a bit more, so that's why I've left these unpruned. This will hopefully give a bit more taper to the bottom of the trunk. Top half of the tree, I don't really want it to grow much more, and I might wire some of these in a bit later on. There are some wires here from last year. I've had a close look. The branches haven't thickened up yet, so they don't need removing. So I can leave the wires on for now, but I might have to remove those wires at a later date if the branches do start thickening up. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with my my larch at the moment. It's looking quite good. I didn't do any root pruning this year. I was a bit late, so I didn't manage to do that. I might do some, but I'll try and do some root pruning next year. Generally, you do the root pruning in early spring, just as the leaves are just starting to show, and the needles are just starting to bud up. So I'll leave that for now. But otherwise, it's looking quite good. I'm not going to do any pruning. I'm going to let it put on quite a bit of growth, and then I'll come back later in the year. I'll have a look at it and see if anything needs pruned off or any wires need to be put on it. So here's my Penjing, Ficus Benjamina. As you can see, it's put on a lot of growth. I did have to loosen this wire off the other day because it was just starting to cut into the stem. So I'll just remove this now, and I'll give you a close-up of the stem so you can see what it kind of looked like as the wire was starting to dig in. It's quite a common occurrence, especially with these Ficus Benjaminas. Once they start growing quite quick, the stems really thicken up fast, and if you're not careful, you don't check them regularly enough, they will start to cut in with the wires. So you can see there's some notches that have been taken out of the branches from where the wires have dug in. This won't cause a major issue. It will look a bit funny for a while, but hopefully it should be able to grow out of it quite easily over the next couple of years. The new growth will thicken up, and the scars shouldn't be too obvious. The scars don't tend to last too long on the Ficus Benjamina plants. I'll take off this other wire because this is also digging in. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to rewire it, put some new wires on the plant because I'm wanting to bend the branches down. In the previous video I think I wired it, and I also did some root pruning. Root pruning was quite successful. I was very harsh on it, and I was a bit worried that it might die off or really stop the growth because I took out the roots at the back here, and they're some of the major roots right down the bottom. You can kind of see there it's quite loose now because those roots are taken out, but the remaining roots that were on the plant have taken hold, and these two at the front have definitely kind of thickened up a little bit now. And that's just as the plants had these two remaining roots, it's had to take all the nutrients through those roots instead of the ones at the back, so they've thickened up quite nicely. Some of the smaller ones have probably died off, they've already dried up, but it looks like this third one is also alive, which is good. I would like to try and encourage more roots in the future, so I'll have to keep an eye on this. If some of these smaller ones are definitely dead and they don't thicken up, what I might do is recover it with soil, encourage some new roots to come down, and then I've got some more material to work with. So what I want to do in this video is get these branches bent back down. What I'm wanting is an ancient tree growing over a rock, kind of hanging over a small little pond with some nice branches hanging down. So I'm going to have to bend these back down with some more wires. Once I've wired them in, I'm then going to trim off some of the ends of these branches. They're getting a bit long, as I want to try and keep it quite compact, but at the same time I want it to look like an ancient tree. So that's the branches bent back down a bit more like I'd like them. I'm doing them a bit further than I'd like them to be bent down, because generally what will happen is these will spring back up quite quickly. So they're going to be quite extreme at the moment, but they'll kind of moderate over the next few weeks and they will kind of pull up naturally. I'll just have to keep tweaking them as time goes on. So I'm going to cut this one back here. It's a little bit too long at the moment, and I want to kind of encourage some smaller branches further back, so I'm just going to nip it off at this shoot here. I'm also then going to have a look at the other branches. This one also is getting really far too long, so I'm just going to nip it off just here, allowing those two side branches to come through better. These ones will strengthen up. I'll probably have to remove these a bit as well. This one is quite a low branch. I'll probably need a lot of pruning to keep it under control. This one at the top as well, I'm just going to prune it back just to encourage more back branching, because at the moment I'm wanting a lot more branches to appear. It's quite sparse at the moment, but hopefully these main branches will then put out some new shoots. Certainly has done quite well here in the past. This one here is probably fine. It's quite short at the moment, and there's a couple of other little branches coming out and some nice side buds. So that's all I'm going to do with the Penjing for now. Doesn't look like a huge amount at the moment, but hopefully over the next few months I can get more and more branches to form, and we'll get a nicer kind of more naturalistic shape. It's going to take a little while with this Penjing to get it to how I like it, but we're making a good progress anyway. You can see this is where it was cut off before. I had to do a massive cut there because it was just far too long. It wasn't quite the right shape, but I'm quite happy with how it looks at the moment. It looks like an ancient tree was fallen over, some cut off, and then it started to regrow. Hopefully this scar will heal up over the next few years. It is quite a large scar, so I'm not expecting it to ever fully recover. Get a close-up of it there so you can have a better look at it. You can see there, it's quite a large scar. It could be quite a nice feature, I suppose. It might look like somebody's cut off the tree in the past, but I would like it to heal over somewhat. So that's it for the Penjing update. As I say, I'll just keep feeding it, keep it growing. We should hopefully get some nice thickening here on the stem. It is a bit strange how it hasn't thickened up much here, but however this is thickened up so much, it's almost the same thickness as the branch there, because you would expect this lower branch at this point to kind of draw some more energy and help this thicken up more than that point. But we'll just see what happens with it. What I might need to do is allow this branch to grow a little bit larger, take some more energy to get some more thickening here, and so that there's a better taper on the tree. So in the next video I'll probably leave this one unpruned, even if it looks too large compared with what I'm going to do with the shape of the tree. That will at least allow this section to swell up more than this. And this one is a little bit too vigorous at the moment, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. I might need to prune it back even further, because I'm not wanting that to draw too much energy and that become too dominant. I want it to be quite an even spread of the branches. So that's it all now for the update on my Penjing, Ficus Benjamina, and my Larch Bonsai. Give you guys an update probably in a few months' time. Hopefully the Larch will put on a huge amount of growth by then. It always grows really fast over the summer. I'll have to keep an eye out what that black material was. Hopefully we've not got any kind of major fungal problems on it, and I'm hoping that's not going to be any more of an issue. I do have fungicide if I need to use that. At the moment I'm not going to put any fungicide on the plant, but if I do see some more dieback then I will apply some fungicide. That's all for now, and I'll see you guys in the next update.